Have you ever had anyone inspire you so much that they made you change your whole career path? Well, I have. What's up? I'm Chris, I make movies, and there's a bunch of people on here who make movies too, so let's talk about them. So this isn't like a top 10 list or an official ranking or anything like that. This is just a bunch of YouTubers who inspired me to make movies, taught me how to do it, showed me what to do, and maybe they can do the same for you. If you have any channels that you want to recommend, let me know down in the comments and I'll see if I can get to them next time. So let me start with somebody that I mentioned on my last video, Joel Haver. I really can't overstate how much of an influence this guy's had on me. It's honestly insane. So over the last couple of years, he's really blown up, and I think that's given him the creative freedom to really take the kind of risks creatively that he wasn't able to take in the past. The thing I really like about Joel Haver is he's an open book. If you go on his YouTube channel and you scroll down far enough, you can see a really weird mix of music videos and comedy skits, and you can see a filmmaker who's really just trying to figure out what his voice is. And honestly, that's just so relatable for somebody like me who's also in the process of just trying to find what my creative voice is overall. And while his skits are really funny, I think where he really shines is in his long-form narrative work. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that he's challenged himself to create a feature-length film for every month of the year in 2024. And believe it or not, he actually did it. And while some of these movies are really rough around the edges and could use some tweaking here and there, the fact that he's gone ahead and done it is such an inspiration for someone like me. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here trying to get one movie done in a year. So for young creatives just trying to get their start, being able to look at somebody who just went ahead and used the resources that he had available to him to make 12 full feature movies, regardless of the quality of them or regardless of the scope, is really a great thing for young people to see. One thing you should really know about this guy is he is super experienced when it comes to solo filmmaking. Like, he almost makes it look easy. Granted, some of the films might not be your cup of tea and could be rough around the edges, but you can't deny each one is made exactly according to his vision. Another thing that's really great about Joel is he approaches filmmaking primarily through an artistic lens, where other filmmaking YouTubers are more like, hey you! Buy my LUTs. So to contrast that with something like this.
The young people of today have such potential to be brilliant, and most of them are brilliant, but they are being led by cowards with no sense of responsibility, by corporations with no sense of creativity, and I am sick of it. It is time to stop following, because the fact of the matter is no one knows what they're doing, so you might as well dare to act like you do.
Is really a breath of fresh air. Something that young filmmakers can really appreciate about him is how candidly he breaks down his filmmaking process. I mean, he even did a budget breakdown for all of his feature films until his accountant told him to stop. Like, who does that? Overall, Joel Haver is just a really genuine filmmaker who wears his heart on his sleeve. Now, the next guy, he should probably be an OG YouTuber at this point. D4 Darius, Darius Britt, whatever you want to call him, he's just the type of guy that you want to hang out with, you know? What I like about Darius is that he's able to break down these complex topics like lighting plans and blocking cues so effortlessly that it doesn't even feel like a lecture. And honestly, he's just a really cool guy.
You got $10 laying around? That's plenty of money. Go shoot something, fool!
He strikes this really good balance between teaching you the technical stuff, making you know how it's done, while also teaching you about the artistic side of what he's trying to do. Also, a reason why I resonate with his work personally is because he started his channel as a way to promote his upcoming feature film at the time, Unsound, which sounds familiar, don't you think? So if you're looking for a channel that has a good mix of entertaining content as well as educational content, why not give D4 Darius a try? So for the next channel I want to recommend, why don't we take a little road trip? Come on. So the town of Mossel Bay has a long and interesting history. Not only is it the shooting location for one of the online series that I shot for Rizzle, which is a platform that no longer exists, rest in peace Rizzle, it also has a wide array of interesting historical events that have taken place here. For example, a popular tourist attraction in the town is what is referred to as the Old Post Office Tree, whose story dates back to 1501. Pero de Ataíde, a sea captain loyal to the Portuguese Empire, was returning from a successful Indian campaign when his superior ordered him to transfer command. He had to leave his own ship to another captain and take control of a larger unnamed carrack for the rest of the journey home. Having trouble controlling his new ship, he soon lost contact with the rest of his fleet off the coast of Madagascar. Determined to catch up, he rushes all the way to Salbrage, which is modern-day Mossel Bay, in an attempt to reunite with his missing fleet. However, when he reaches the camps, he notices that the ships are nowhere to be seen, and decides to take the rest of the journey home alone. But not before writing a letter to warn other Portuguese sea captains about the hostilities taking place in Calicut. With no way to reliably deliver the message, Ataíde makes the rational decision to take the letter, stick it in a boot, and hang it off the branch of a nearby milkwood tree. Almost 1 year later, João de Nova, the intended recipient, actually discovers the boot hanging from the branch. And from that day on, that milkwood tree served as a de facto post office for centuries, until in 1963 they finally erected a post box underneath the tree. And fittingly, the post box was built in the shape of a boot. Now I love historical facts like that. And if you do too, then I can definitely recommend Austin McConnell. Austin McConnell is a much more eclectic content creator than the rest of the guys that I've mentioned. You might know him for some of his work like What to Do When Your Parachute Fails, Ink Cartridges Are a Scam, or a solid 20 minutes of useless information.
The world's largest paperclip is located in Kipling, Saskatchewan. It's over 15 feet tall and weighs 3,043 pounds.
Now what does this have to do with making movies? Absolutely nothing. But while Austin McConnell does have a lot of videos about his own creative processes, which are definitely worth a watch, where he really shines is in his storytelling. The way that he's able to take some of the most seemingly boring subject matter, like the laws of Arizona, and turn it into an engaging narrative is proof that you can take any type of story and sell it to an audience as long as you have the right approach. Speaking of finding the right approach, he's also refreshingly open when it comes to his creative processes, the good and the bad.
I've set everything up. We're about 10 minutes till showtime, and as you can tell, no one's here.
It was actually the video that he made about his first feature film that made me start to wonder when I should try and make my first feature film. So I guess you could say if it wasn't for these guys, this channel wouldn't exist. I probably wouldn't be making this movie. So some of you guys might be wondering why I'm telling you about all these channels that are probably better than mine. Well, I've noticed that a lot of people tend to really isolate themselves creatively when it comes to taking on a project like this, be it filmmaking, writing, coding, anything. And while this is a perfectly normal feeling to have, I mean, no two projects are exactly alike, I still think it's a good idea to take a minute to stop and see the forest through the trees. Each one of the channels that I've mentioned today has made their own narrative films and has gone through extensive lengths to share that process with us. I can honestly say that while shooting this feature, I've come back to these guys' channels and just watched some of their old videos to see what to do, what not to do, and any other tips I can get from them. And you know, if the channels that I've listed aren't exactly your style, that's fine. You know, this is just scratching the surface of people that have helped me get where I am today. Having your own instincts is great. That's what gives you your own voice. But every now and then, why not just stop for a minute to sit back, learn from the greats, and get creating. I'm Chris. I make movies. New videos every week.